Hey guys, it's Mollie with Stylist Detail. We are talking about exterior styles today, stuff that I love and that we're seeing in some examples here, like of parade homes that I've been in recently. So stay tuned to check that out. Alrighty, so definitely home exteriors have changed a lot, even in the course of the last couple years, I would say. I looked at parade homes and made some videos to show you guys stuff that I was noticing happening and things that I love, and a few things that I'm going to be incorporating in our exterior of our new build. So let's kind of dive into that. First of all, you may have noticed a lot of European trends, and I love that. I've called my style European Organic Modern since we built our last home was when I really defined that. So that was 2017, I guess it was. And that was kind of cool because that hashtag didn't exist. So I started it and it's got thousands of posts now because other people seem to like that style as well. That being said, I am loving all of the stone. There's definitely more stone, both, you know, we've seen it interior. I talked about it like in the stone walls that I've done for our homes, remodel homes and things like that. I think stone is a timeless material. It definitely goes through different masonry types as kind of like the key. Like sometimes the painted brick is key, sometimes it's traditional, more red brick, sometimes you see more of the stonework. And right now I really do think stone is taking center stage, though we are still seeing, as you'll see in some examples, some painted brick as well. So I did on our last exterior, we'll kind of start there, of my home, actually the wood cedar shingles, and they're true wood shaker, like a shaker shingle, that I did a custom stain on, and all of that information, if you're looking for that guide, that home guide, I'll include in this video because I did create a guide that has all the colors and selections for that home, both interior and exterior. So that's pretty cool, and there's a coupon code too to get 20% off of that if you're building and you want like a resource guide. That's a really good one. But when I chose those back in, it was 2016, I think 2016 when I first drew that exterior, and then 2017 we started building. It wasn't happening, especially in Utah. People were not doing a cedar shingle on their homes. As in East Coast and sometimes even West Coast designs definitely have the cedar, but it was kind of foreign for states like Utah, where I live, to see that. And now it's totally happening. I've seen some recent influencers that are building homes now in, what are we, 2022? I think what year was. So 5 years after I did that, that it still is happening. And we saw it on a parade home that I shared recently, that tour. So you can kind of see the similar feel here. And when I did mine, I mixed it with a painted brick, and I loved that combination. I could not find, I kid you not, I could not find a single example of it online anywhere. People mixing, which is so silly because I remember just like searching everywhere. I'm like, surely someone has done this, and I'm sure that it had been done. But it wasn't where you could find a picture of it. So I'm sure there existed a home somewhere, but it wasn't like all over Pinterest or something. And so I really was like, it felt like a true gamble. I remember saying that to Ben. I'm like, well, we're just gonna take a risk on this one. Of course I loved it. I loved how it turned out. But I like that pairing because it's classic and it has that East Coast vibe. I definitely wanted that feel of the Hamptons or something mixed in with what I created in that home. And so this other one that I saw in the parade, you can see, definitely it was a larger house. It had some more grand elements, and they did the mix though as well of that cedar shake and the painted brick. Definitely also something we're seeing a lot more of, and I'm sure you guys have seen this, is the arch detail. So lots of arched entryways to homes, arched windows. Like I've done some videos talking about arches because they're definitely something that does fluctuate some in how much they're used. I love a true arch because it's architectural, and this is kind of what I cover some of this in my arches video, but you can go back in history and see how they've been incorporated over for hundreds and thousands of years, really, back in ancient architecture and things. So that's really cool because then you have something that it feels almost nostalgic, it feels architecturally sound. For me, it's just using those arches in the right places, and you can see some good examples here where they saved it for the door, or they saved it, that's usually what it is, like you'll almost have all square windows and then you have the arch entry and the front door maybe is arched. And that's similar to what I'm doing in my house. I have definitely some arched details mixed in. We've got the front door has it, as well as I did some exterior doors that I can't wait to show you guys. But I try to use it sparingly because I think it loses that specialness, special factor. It's overused. So just kind of using it in the right places and letting it be a special detail is really important, I think, with arches. Moving right along, in addition to obviously obviously like the painted brick, and I was talking about stone. I want to show some examples of stone. We've got, and I really do think most of these have a very strong undertone of European influence. And so these are homes that I think draw on that character, that old world character. And that I love. Like I said, anytime you can kind of, it's sort of a revitalization of a historic style, it feels like it's more likely to be timeless. For me, the glass box houses, the things that are really modern that you see a lot, you know, when I watch like $1 Million Listing in the California one, like in LA, there's just so many of those glass box homes, and some of them are gorgeous from the inside, but the exterior to me is always just feels lacking character. And so, and I've seen that happen in other places too. I think people kind of draw from sometimes East and West Coast. They're kind of, you know, New York and LA. These are like trend-setting type of locations. And so a lot of times those styles kind of get pulled into other places in the US. Anyway, I definitely personally love when it has more of a historical influence and more character to the home, like Cotswold, is that Cotswold, England? That style, so beautiful. A lot of those have like wood roofs and those types of things. I couldn't do a wood roof on mine, even though I think that would have been really fun because of where we're building. And we definitely have had some major challenges, I'll say, with appealing to what the HOA wants in regard, and I know a lot of you warned me, in regard to, but a lot of it is in regard to fire safety, because we are in an area where it's kind of on the hillside, the mountainside, and so it's possible there could be wildfires there, which it has, you know, like I said, is definitely something we've had to consider. But so some of the materials are affected by that. We even have to have fire sprinklers in our home. So not super thrilled about that, but you know what it is. So we have had some limitations on what we can do on colors, styles, that sort of thing. But I really like the direction it's going. I kind of went for pulling some of those European elements, but also clean, minimalist lines. So you'll see that I am bringing in some raw, kind of natural wood timbers, but in a less like log cabin way, more of a modern, it still has a rustic element to it, but almost like I've pulled some, it's funny to say this because Mediterranean makes you think of tile roof and like where I live right now, which is more the desert, but it has a little bit of modern Mediterranean vibe to it, and I can't help but think I was influenced. You guys know how I've also talked about my influence from the Parent Trap, the Lindsay Lohan Parent Trap, because that house that the dad lives in on the vineyard, I can't help but just feel like because I was maybe 11 or 12 when that movie came out. I was like the same, because Lindsay Lohan and I are the same age. We were born the same year. And I think only like a month apart. Don't know why I know that, but I'm pretty sure I looked it up when I was a kid and still remember it. But anyway, that house to me is so timeless. There are some details, and this is actually funny because some of them almost subconsciously I worked into our house, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's in that house. I realized like later when I was pulling images to show Ben, I'm like, I just can't get over how much of this house. I'm like, oh my heck, I did that in sorry, that was so Utah that I said oh my heck, but oh my goodness, this is totally from this house, and I wasn't even consciously thinking about that. But there's something about that feel, that vineyard home feel to me, that is just timeless and gorgeous and ingrained in my soul. And so I think that some of that influence totally came out in what we are building. I cannot wait to show you guys. It's gonna be so fun. But as we're walking through a few more of these details, I'll kind of point out things that we did. So I do have an arched front door that is glass, so it's kind of that mixing of a traditional element with a little bit of the modern, so you kind of are bringing in what I would say is kind of like a new edge on it, so that because for me, I'm not trying to totally recreate like an old cottage, right? I want some pieces of that, but I also want some pieces of a more clean, modern, minimalist aesthetic with it. So it's always a compilation for me of styles, and that's kind of, I don't know, just kind of how I've always done things. Like I want to pull in all my favorite things into a unique style that's my own. That's the goal. So that being said, let's kind of look at a few more of these homes. You can kind of see too in the colors going a little, there's been so much of the white houses, and they're classic. You know, I've never loved a bright white. I do enjoy a warm white. I did a really warm white painted brick with my cedar shingles, and I still adore that. Like I said, I'm going a little bit different because of location and style of the area we're building in, but I think it still is true to my aesthetic, just kind of fitting in or fitting around some of those restrictions. But one thing you'll notice, I had selected my kind of colors and everything. They're a little bit warmer palette, a little bit more saturation so that it's not just white or even a warm white. There's some here's one with the tan. You can see they did kind of a tan neutral palette, but with the stone mixed in. And I think that stone is nice to kind of break up if you're doing stucco or you're doing other hardy board or anything like that. That parade home that had kind of the green tones and the darker metal accents with the stone details, that one was very European as well. So you can kind of see, at least here, how popular this style is. And mine's a little bit more modern than these, but not like I said, not like the white box modern, not like that. So yeah, I'm hoping it's kind of a unique mix that people haven't really seen before. And as far as other materials, I think there's definitely, you know, there's this one that's a little bit more modern. For me, I just don't like too much of where everything's a square roof. I like an entryway that's more, you know, it could be more square like that. I'm doing that, but I love the gables, right? So, you know, we're seeing the steeper pitched roofs of homes, because that kind of, you know, again mimics the European style. But I love the pointed gable. That's hard to resist, I guess. I think that it's just traditional home feeling for me. And then definitely, what else have I seen change over the last while? So Craftsman was big when we built our first house back in 2009. And then I went a little bit more like coastal, and then we did that kind of East Coast vibe. And now, you know, I'm doing some modern Mediterranean European combo. And anyway, so those are kind of some of the elements. I'd love to hear what you guys, if you're building or if you love homes or have an opinion here. I want to hear what your favorite style of home is, what elements you are loving that is happening now, or maybe something you wish was happening. Definitely there's also some traditional, a lot of symmetry. I've seen a lot of like almost that throwback to colonial, like a modern colonial style. So it's a pretty, I think people are branching out a little bit more. And really, I think that homes are in a beautiful phase right now. It's not like the early 2000s where everything was like brown and tan and stucco. At least that's what it was here. So it's actually refreshing to see people doing more of a custom thing. And I think, again, with those European influences, it just brings a lot of character. So anyway, those are my thoughts. And we will share hopefully soon more on our home builds coming along. Definitely trying to be patient as usual. But as that exterior is coming together, I'll be sure to show you guys what I'm looking forward to most next is the windows will be going in, and I can't wait to share what I did, because people keep asking, did you do black or white windows? The answer is neither. So there's that. Thanks for following along. We'd love to have you subscribe and hit that bell to be notified of future videos. And check us out over on Instagram at Design Lives Detail, or my website where there's lots of resources, lots of room inspiration. You can just search in that search bar for anything you're looking for. And I've got all kinds of recommendations on products and room inspiration, that sort of stuff. So designlivesdetail.com for that. I'll see you next time.